Hello, my name is Blaine Clark, Account Manager for AGCO Corporation in New England. I'm here with Taylor Grout, Product Marketing Specialist for AGCO Corporation. Taylor, first I gotta tell you thank you for bringing me out to sunny Phoenix.
I mean, you don't get much better than this. Nice 70 degrees, dry heat out here.
It beats 2 feet of snow I was in last week, I'll tell you that.
I bet.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Glad to have you out here, Blaine.
So Taylor, I have been talking to customers out in New England and hearing from customers all over about the fact that they want a simpler, more reliable machine.
Mm-hmm.
So I see we're here with the Massey 4600 series. And can you talk to us about the features and benefits that the 4600s have that are going to meet the needs of the customer?
Well, sure. Like you said, simplicity and reliability, that's what customers are looking for. And the 4600 series answers those concerns wonderfully. And the first feature that I'd really start with when talking with a customer is the engine. The new 4600 series features a brand new engine manufactured by AGCO Power. It is a 3-cylinder engine, brand new design from the ground up. But Massey Ferguson has been using AGCO Power engines for a number of years. AGCO Power has a history of durability and reliability, fuel efficiency, power, but also just innovation when it comes to diesel engines. And all of those features are in this new 3-cylinder engine. Again, it's manufactured by AGCO Power. Like we said, it's a 3-cylinder engine. So 3-cylinder engines, that's going to give you a simplistic design. 3-cylinder engines has a lot fewer moving parts than a 4-cylinder engine. Okay, it's also in a smaller, more compact package. It's got a shorter wheelbase on the tractor. This tractor has incredible maneuverability, and that plays hand over fist into what our customers are using these tractors for. It's a utility tractor. Okay, it's going to be going around inside barns. It's going to be going around just a general around the farm work. Utility is going to be key. So with a small, compact design that we get out of a 3-cylinder engine, fewer moving parts, so it's going to have a good reliability. But at the same time, even though it's only 3 cylinders, it's got big power and it's got big torque. It's even got more horsepower, more torque than some of its competitors who use larger 4-cylinder engines. So the engine here, it's key in its simplicity, but it's also its reliability. Again, a lot of that goes back to AGCO Power.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. Well, I have to tell you, I have been reading in Kubota's literature regarding the M60, which we have a tractor that's in that series right behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been talking a lot about Tier 4 interim stage and meeting the EPA requirements for Tier 4. And they start to talk about a diesel particulate filter, which I don't completely understand. Can you talk to us more about the emission strategy for Massey Ferguson and how it compares to the competition?
Sure thing. For 2013, all utility class tractors that are diesel powered have to meet what is the EPA's Tier 4 emissions requirements. It's set forth by the government, by the EPA, and it's something that all diesel engine manufacturers have to comply with. The Kubota M60 series, the new one, is a Tier 4I, or the Tier 4 interim compliant engine as set forth by the EPA. Massey Ferguson, the 4600 series, is also EPA Tier 4I compliant. And a lot of people are talking about that, but what's really important to our customers out there is, well, number one, does it comply with the EPA standards? But secondly, how does it comply? What technology is used to achieve that EPA compliance? And I think that's where we've got a really strong suit. The new 3-cylinder engine from AGCO Power, we feature where we have a lot of new technologies that allow us to meet that Tier 4 requirement. A couple of things like 4 valves per cylinder. 4 valves per cylinder allow better airflow in and out of the engine, so it's better engine breathing. We have a wastegate turbocharger with intercooler. So what we're doing is we're pressurizing the air before it goes into the cylinders, but we're also cooling that air. Cool air is more dense, a lot more oxygen, so we get better combustion. We use a high-pressure common rail injection system from Bosch. Okay, high-pressure common rail injection system. It gives us an injector tip pressure of 23,000 PSI of pressure at the injector tip. So when we're injecting diesel into that cylinder, we're atomizing that diesel. We get a better fuel-air mix because we're atomizing that fuel. It gives us better combustion inside of that cylinder. And then a couple of other features that help us meet the emissions requirements: external exhaust gas recirculation. We take a little bit of exhaust gas and we take it out of the exhaust stream. Sure. We cool it and then we send it back through the engine again. That's a technology that we use to help clean up emissions. And lastly, we use a diesel oxidation catalyst. People call that a DOC. Diesel oxidation catalyst is a lot like the catalytic converter on an automobile. It's in the exhaust stream, and as exhaust gases pass through it, there's a precious metal element inside of the exhaust stream that actually helps it to just clean up the exhaust. Okay, it oxidizes a lot of the contaminants and gives us better emissions. Those are all technologies that we use here in this AGCO Power 3-cylinder engine. Now, what you were talking about with Kubota and their new engine that meets the Tier 4i requirements, they use technologies very similar to that. They use the high pressure common rail, electronic engine management. They use external exhaust gas recirculation. But there's another technology that you were hinting at that they use that Massey Ferguson does not. That's the diesel particulate filter, or DPF. A diesel particulate filter is actually exactly as the name implies. It's a filter on the exhaust stream. It's filtering out all this particulate matter and debris that's inside the exhaust stream. It actually catches it in a filter. Okay? Kubota uses that in theirs. Massey Ferguson does not. Now, just like any filter, once it gets clogged up with all that particulate matter, you got to clean it. Or the industry term is to regenerate the filter. Okay, so when that filter gets all clogged up, you got to clean it. And I liken the process to much like a self-cleaning oven. When your oven gets full of goop and goo inside of there, I mean, if you think about it, it's very, very simple.
Well, I can understand that.
Yeah, when the oven gets full of all that goop and goo, you got to clean it. You hit the clean button, and what the oven does is it heats up to an incredible temperature, and it literally incinerates all that goop and goo that's inside of the oven. Well, that's what a diesel particulate filter is doing. When you regenerate that filter, you actually cause that filter to heat up and create an immense amount of heat. It's actually incinerating all of that trapped debris and particulate matter in that exhaust system. So you think about it, it's using fuel to generate that heat, and then you're getting this massive heat source around your tractor. That's something that the Kubota Tier 4i emissions engine uses. Massey Ferguson does not. We do not have a diesel particulate filter on our engine. We don't ever have to regenerate anything. The nice thing about our engine to meet Tier 4i requirement is we call it a no maintenance emission system. The operator doesn't have to do anything to this engine for the life of the engine, but put in fuel and drive.
Perfect. Something you said that really stuck out to me is you said the word heat. And it immediately took me to some of the customers that we have. They're in small hay operations, and introducing heat could mean a lot of things to them. Can you talk to me about what the introduction of heat in some of our competitors' systems would mean to the operator?
Well, absolutely. And you said in your hay operations, well, out here in Phoenix, I mean, this is a very dry, very dusty environment, but very much like your small hay operations, or even just general on-the-farm use, you're talking about dusty, oftentimes dry conditions. When you're out baling your hay or raking your hay, I mean, you talk about a dusty condition, you're out there in a very combustible environment. You know, the less heat, the better. Because the last thing you want, the more heat you get, I mean, the greater the potential for catching something on fire. There are stories all over the internet about diesel particulate filters and these high heat emission systems in the over-the-road truck industry that have sparked or suspected of sparking fires. Okay, so in this case, a diesel particulate filter, you've got this massive heat buildup on the tractor. That's not a good thing. The less heat you can generate around your tractor, the better. You're in a dusty environment. I just mentioned over-the-road trucks. I mean, those guys are on asphalt driving down the road. Imagine being in your barn, being out in a dry hay field out there trying to bale your hay, and you get this massive heat buildup. Now, understand, a diesel particulate filter doesn't regenerate all the time. But at the same time, when it does need to regenerate, all of a sudden it's going to build up this heat. It's going to use fuel to make that heat, and then it's going to source this heat in this object about the size of a large coffee can. Okay, and you concentrate that heat, whether it's underneath the hood, whether it's in the exhaust stream somewhere. I mean, that's a massive heat source. You get a dusty environment, you get some dry hay, or out here in Arizona, I mean, anything that's dry and combustible, it's just not a good thing for a farming operation. The less heat you can have, the better. Kubota does have a diesel particulate filter. They're gonna have that high heat source. Massey Ferguson does not have a diesel particulate filter anywhere. We're not gonna have that concentration of heat in our operation.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Taylor. That certainly helps me, someone in layman, really understand more about the features that the 4600 has compared to our competition.
Glad to do it, Blaine. Glad to have you out here.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. And what I would say is, I know that the customers are looking for a simpler, more reliable machine. Certainly, the features that Taylor has just pointed out, you'll see in the 4600, will certainly meet those needs. And my question is, can your operation handle some of the additional cost and maintenance that you will have with some of the competitions, especially in regards to the Tier 4 emission strategy? Taylor, thanks again. Appreciate all your help.
Glad to do it, Blaine.
All right.